maybe not in a business scenario, perhaps. Now, I'm the head of digital for Genesys in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, so I have to take selfies. So can we all get in a selfie here to start? Now, you all have to, can I see you there? You all waving? There we go. I'll get that up on Twitter by when I'm finished. So my apologies for speaking in English today. I think I'm the only English speaker in the day. So I suppose they put me on after lunch to wake you up and get the brain going. I'm here to talk to you about customer experience, or CX, in the digital age. I want to start with a video from a bank in Brazil and see what they think digital CX is all about. Some sound, please.
Personalité digital. Não seria perfeito ter um banco disponível das 7 à meia-noite? Ter um gerente que te conhece bem e uma agência que você nem conhece? Não seria perfeito trocar SMS direto com o seu gerente e falar sobre investimentos por videoconferência? Personalité digital. Um novo jeito de atender você por chat, telefone, e-mail, SMS, videoconferência, do seu jeito, no seu tempo. Digital, só para ser mais pessoal. Não é perfeito para você?
So I think in many ways that's summing up and sets the scene nicely for what I'd like to talk about for the next 15 minutes or so, where banks and other companies like them are really bringing all those channels together to offer choice and a great experience to their customers, bringing all those channels together. And what's interesting, if we look where we are in this decade, we're already more than halfway through this decade. Think at the start of the decade, back in 2010, did you even have a smartphone? I was actually trying to think back to when I got my first smartphone. It might have been around about 2009 or 2010. And we're already looking forward to 2020, to 2020, to see what customer experience will be really like. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these, but some of these things are already well on the way to happening. Artificial intelligence. We can't have escaped all the stuff that's been happening recently in the world of artificial intelligence, driverless cars, and so on. It's going to become more and more the norm over the next few years. Internet of Things. Now, I'm going to come back to this in a few minutes, but how many connected devices do you have in your house? And as we move into the second half of this decade, we're finding that even the things are now becoming customers, not just the customer themselves. Multimodal, multi-screen. We're all multimodal, multi-screening consumers today already, but it will become the norm. 60% of people already do their banking on multi-screens, on their phone, on their laptop at the same time. That's going to become more and more of the norm. And I think what I'd like to ask you is, on your smartphone, how many ways do each of you have for communicating with family and friends? How many ways? Anybody? I'm sure everybody in this audience in particular is bound to have more than 10. Yeah? Anybody not got 10? I can see some people are counting them up now, right? We're all digital consumers now. Voice, email, SMS, they're the obvious ones. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Viber, Skype. The list goes on and on. I think I got up to about 15 on my phone. And that's becoming more of the norm now. But let me ask you this. How many connected devices do you control from your smartphone? Anybody want to shout out a number? Countless. Countless. That's a cheat answer. Well, how many connected devices do you have with you right now? I've got 4 devices in the room. I've got my phone, my tablet, my laptop, and my watch. If you go into my house, you've got PlayStations, TVs, my washing machine, My washing machine, this is an interesting one. My washing machine is a connected device. I have an app on my phone to control my washing machine. Now, I'm sure my wife and kids might get a little bit disturbed if I turned on a fast spin cycle when I was right here today. But my washing machine is a connected device. Now, what's interesting about the company that supplied my washing machine is that great digital device, great Internet of Things example, use of technology, but I had a problem with it. And I went to their website to get help. And I went and I couldn't find an answer to my question, so there was a chat option was being presented. I selected that option. It then asked me to put in all this detail about serial number, where I bought it, my name and address, all of this, before I even got to the chat. And then when I said go, this menu popped, or this screen popped up and said, you're number 1 in the queue. And then for a few minutes later, you're number 1 in the queue. You're number 1 in the queue. You're number 1 in the queue. I was number 1 in the queue for a good 10 minutes before I gave up and hit the button at the bottom that says, if you don't want to chat, just email us. I hit email, and all the details that I'd put in had gone. I had to start again. So even this company that had created a great digital device, a great Internet of Things example, fell over when it came to actually creating true digital customer experience. And all these devices, all of these channels that we now use on a daily basis, we are the digital consumer. And the question I have for you and your companies is, how many of those do you allow your customers to communicate with you on? We're trying to create, and I'm going to challenge a little bit our understanding of the term omnichannel as we go here. Because I think sometimes our definition of omnichannel can be a bit narrow. But creating true omnichannel digital customer experience means bringing every single thing that your customers touch when they interact with your business together to create a single managed experience. Walt Disney, who created the Disney franchise, is on record for saying customer experience to him and his brand is just what happens anytime you interact with Disney. Whether it's going into one of their stores and buying a toy, whether it's watching a movie, whether it's going into a park, it's everything. Everything that happens when a customer interacts with your brand. But there are 3 things that make that really difficult to do. And the first one, as was mentioned in my introduction, I'm from Northern Ireland. And this wall is actually the Peace Wall in Belfast, in my hometown. This wall was built to keep Catholics and Protestants apart. It's still there today. Now, it keeps the communities apart, but these people shop in the same shopping centres, they work in the same offices, they interact with each other all of the time anyway. But this wall is still there to try and keep them apart. Does anybody recognize this character in the middle? What's her name? Dory. Dory the fish. And what's Dory famous for? She's being forgetful. Dory forgets things as soon as you tell her. And this is what we do to our customers all of the time. We've got our Peace Wall here, and that's just like our businesses, because we've got a great mobile app team over here, we've got a great web team here, we've got an Internet of Things team here, we've got a call center over here. Our customer is interacting with all of them, but they're not dealing with each other, and they're not interacting with each other. So we end up doing like Dory the fish. The customer tells us something on social media, and we ask for it again on chat. They tell us something by email, and we ask for it again on voice. It happened to me with my washing machine. I told them something on the website, and they asked me again as soon as we went into the chat session. And the final thing, the final thing that makes it difficult to deliver this true omni-channel digital customer experience is this last image. Is anybody familiar with, does anybody recognize this image? This is from an American TV show called Hole in the Wall. Now, what this show is all about is this wall, this big yellow wall, has a hole in it that is he's taking pictures, well, I'm going to make some funny shapes here, but there's a hole in the wall, and the contestant has to make that hole, so when that wall moves towards them, they have to fit through the hole. And if they don't fit through the hole, they get knocked off, and it's all very funny. And this is representative of a big problem that we have today, because we're in the age of big data and analytics. But analytics will only tell us what a customer should be like. When that customer comes to us and presents themselves to the website, to your device, the analytics will tell us what they should be like. It doesn't adjust to their needs of that moment in time. It doesn't adjust to them. And that's the challenge that we have as well, is being real time and being actionable in real time. And this is where what we call the digital engagement center comes in. Because your customers are doing self and assisted service with you. At the top of that, we need to have all of those channels. We need to be able to interact with customers over all of the ways that they communicate and they want to communicate with us. But we also have to have analytics that go across all of that. We need to have the ability to see in one screen how our performance is doing across all of the ways that our customers communicate with us. We need to do that so that we can optimize our business. And actually, this is a really important one, because as digital is getting bigger and bigger and is working at scale now, businesses like yours are trying to operationalize that in their business, to manage their workforce, to make sure your employees are where you need them to be when your customers need them to be. And finally, all of this powered by a single platform that lowers that total cost of ownership and allows you to achieve the scale of rolling out digital across your entire business. This is what we need to do to deliver on that promise of great digital customer experience. But as you start this journey, and I'm sure many of you are well on the way along this journey already, but when businesses start this journey, there are two things that you don't know. And the first thing you don't know is what your digital customer experience needs to be. When should I interact with that customer? What are my rules for engagement? How do customers need to be interact? What are their preferences? But the second thing that is really important that you don't know when you start this journey is how to operationalize this in your business. How do you staff it? How do you make sure the right employee is in the right place at the right time when that customer needs help? Still, a significant percentage of digital transactions need assistance. Now, how do you make sure your employees are in the right place? These are the two things that you don't know when you start that journey. And so what I want to show you then is a couple of examples of how companies like yours have started to learn the answers to these questions and have started to roll out true digital engagement. And the first area I'd like to look at is actually just simply on the web and web engagement. This was a bit of research that was carried out in Turkey, I think it was last year. And it was a very simple bit of research. We've done this in other countries as well. And we went to the websites of some of your top retailers in the country. And we put some goods in the shopping basket, a high average order value. And we went through the whole buying process. And at the very end of that buying process, where all we had to do was hit buy now, we abandoned. We actually took those goods out of the shopping cart and waited. We just waited to see what would happen. And in that time, not a single website reacted in real time to us removing goods from the shopping basket. Within a day, we'd had email follow-up from a number of those sites, but so many of those sites did not even reach out to us at all. And this is the same story across many countries around the world. And you know, it kind of seems a little bit obvious. If you're owning a shop and somebody comes into your shop and they take goods off the shelves and they put it into a basket and then they come up to the counter and they simply walk away, you wouldn't let them do that. But we do that to customers online all the time. But it's actually hard to do. I mean, look at my experience with my web chat. That was a terrible customer experience. And how often have customers complained about choosing a chat option on a website, but there's nobody there to help them out? It's hard to be aware of when the right time is to engage a customer. It's hard to have your organization agile enough with everything else that's going on to be there for that customer at that moment of opportunity. So I want to show you an example of a company who has solved that problem in the UK. So that's Marks and Spencer that have done that in the UK. That's all in the context of their omnichannel digital and engagement center. A small team has produced significant results with some very simple online engagement use cases when their customers get stuck. I want to move on and look at the mobile channel. Now, mobile is great. There's a great experience that we can now create for our customers, but there's still a fundamental problem that we often have with the mobile channel, and it's what happens when a customer needs help. And your brand can be let down by a poor shift from mobile self-service to mobile assisted service experience, when they need help and they need to speak or to chat with somebody in your business who can help them out. Because what happens? We ask them to repeat themselves again. And that experience, it's not good enough. And this is what this experience should look like. So that's what you might call a seamless shift from self to assisted service in mobile. That customer did not have to repeat themselves. That greeter in the contact center knew everything. And there's many brands around the world of just with that simple use case, whether it's a click to call or click to chat and a seamless shift, are delivering great benefits in their business, but great customer experience benefits for their customers. One point that I think is really important to get out of, if there's one leave behind I'd like to leave with you, is the importance of a single common tool for your employees who engage with customers. The ability to have all of those channels controlled and managed from one place, and then therefore that you can manage your employees, drive collaboration, drive improvement, performance improvement, and workforce optimization, and so on. It's really key. So we're talking about customer journeys, but the reality is that in the business you're also on a journey, and what we've realized about the digital transformation journey is that once you set the vision of where you want to go and you want to become a true omni-channel digital customer experience driven business, you simply start with what we call Kickstart. Some simple use cases, the use cases that I've demonstrated for you already here, and you can go and see them on our stand out here. And once you've done that, you can roll out across the business, add other channels, integrate across the business, and keep improving those customer journeys because you've built the foundation for doing that. And I want to finish with a company that is well on the way to do this journey right now, and they've brought together a lot of the parts that I've just talked about to create a great customer experience. So the narration will come in now.
Meet Ralph and his family, all digital natives, constantly in touch, social networking, playing online, and watching videos. However, with each member of his family on different data contracts, it's a headache to manage their separate monthly bills and a real strain on his pocket. Vodafone Red One makes things simpler. One shared data allowance for the whole family, saving him money. He browses through the site, trying to work out which plan is best for him. An invitation to chat appears, just in time. This is Ingrid. She is a Vodafone specialist. Using the omni-channel desktop, she accepts Ralph's chat request, scans his web activity, and pulls up answers to the most common customer questions. She resolves his query, and he completes his order. What could be simpler? Ralph had recently ignored a proactive SMS,
Hey Bruder, mir geht's prima. Schön.
advising him he was close to his data limit.
Hey, und ihr Dick...
Now he has a problem. They all have. The red button in the app gives him easy help options. He chooses Click to Call. Johann receives all of Ralph's details with the Click to Call request, including his recent history across all channels and the SMS that he missed.
Sie rufen aus unserer App an, dann können Sie auch ganz bequem...
This seamless mobile experience makes it easy for Johann to solve Ralph's problem quickly. With the allowance increased, everyone's happy, especially Ralph. He sends a tweet to Vodafone for helping him out so efficiently. It certainly made Johann's day too.
Fantastisch aus und scheint eine Menge Spaß.
A seamless and personal customer journey powered by Genesys.
So as I leave you this afternoon, I just want to ask you that one question. How are you managing your end-to-end omni-channel customer experience? And if you want help answering that question or exploring it a little bit more, I would encourage you to sign up for our blog here in Turkey. We've also got our stand out there where we can actually demonstrate for you live all of the use cases that you've seen me talking about today. So I want to thank you for your time. Sorry for speaking English, but thank you for listening.